Good morning and welcome back to the Livingston Parish News Morning Show. My name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Appreciate you guys joining us this morning. If you're watching us live on Facebook, thank you for that. If you are watching us elsewhere, we do upload these shows to www.livingstonparishnews.com/podcast. They are free. You can check them out there. We have audio and video versions for you to view. We also have a breaking news section on our website that is free, that offers legislative information as well as national news. And we have a coronavirus page, which is free. We give out all of our coronavirus information for you to check out. Getting into our show this morning, let's talk about some traffic actually looking like a beautiful day, and it's going to be an easy day on traffic. Some minor delays on 190 at 447 in Juban. Still hasn't quite made it to 4H Club Road, River Road, and 190. Normal delays otherwise, but not too bad. Traffic is flowing. Same thing goes for I-12. Some minor delays on the on-ramps getting onto the interstate. However, I-12 is flowing. So it's a pretty good day for your commute this morning. 82 degrees is your current temperature. 93, your overnight high. 76 going to be your overnight high. Let me try that again. 82 degrees is your current temperature. 93 degrees your high today. Going to be a warm one. 76 degrees your overnight low. Going to be a little cloudy this morning, going to break up, going to be some clouds this afternoon, mostly sun, going to be a warm one, but it should be a beautiful day. Want to talk about these mitigation efforts real quick with regard to the novel coronavirus, because we will be moving into some other stuff. Have a lot of non-coronavirus stuff to talk about today, which I'm sure is going to make some people happy. Just want to remind you folks, wash your hands for 20 seconds or more with soap and water. Disinfect common surfaces at home and at the office. Wear a mask in public if at all possible. That also goes for don't touch your face, my favorite one. Control your cough with an elbow or a tissue. That includes sneezing. 6 feet or more of distance between yourself and others in public. 25 or less to a gathering. Please stay home if you are sick. Contact your doctor via telehealth. And stay home from work if at all possible. To work from home. Keep working, but try to stay home if at all possible. Getting into it today, want to remind everyone that early voting runs through this Saturday. It does go through July 4th. Both the Denham Springs Walker Branch Library as well as the Registrar of Voters Office is open for early voting. You can go check that out. They're open from 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. They're in the back of the Denham Springs Walker Branch Library or at the Registrar's Office for you to go early vote. There is a Chief of Police vote in Albany. There is also a judge vote for appellate court between Judge Rick Schwartz and Judge Beth Wolf. Ms. Wolf is from here. Mr. Schwartz is from the North Shore. They, of course, are running for First Circuit Court of Appeals, so you can check that out. We do have an interview with Mr. Rick Schwartz on our website, www.livingstonparishnews.com. Now, after that, you have your executive committees for the parish, as well as your presidential primary. You can only vote along party lines for those two votes. So please remember, go out, vote in the primary, vote for your executive parties, and then we should have a relatively normal election in the fall. Of course, these were elections that were supposed to occur in the spring. Lots coming up in the fall. But again, early voting running through this Saturday, July 4th, 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily. Obviously, we didn't vote either Sunday. And, of course, there's 2 weeks of early voting because of the coronavirus, because of the proposal to try to get people out and early vote, but have it be sort of have an extended time. So that way, if you went out one day, there was a crowd, you weren't real comfortable with it, you could come back. Regular election for those moved spring elections due to COVID-19 is on July 11th. So that'll be the week from this Saturday. Today is also the last day of the legislative session. This is a special session that came after sort of a chopped up regular session, if you take it that way, chopped and screwed. And so we're going to be looking at trying to get a budget out by 6 p.m. tonight, June 30th. Right now it's looking pretty good. Not a whole lot of fanfare in the Senate yesterday regarding the budget or over the weekend. It is in the House right now. They're going to try to get that out before 6 p.m. Unfortunately, with that, that quick deadline coming, it does mean that with the legislature saying that they will want to meet in the fall to kind of follow up with COVID-19, sort of look at how the economy was affected, how their initial bills worked, might get some insurance changes then. Does not look like we're going to come out of this special session unless something rockets through today with any kind of insurance changes for car insurance for Louisiana residents. So going to be interesting to see where that goes in the future. But as of right now, that's dead in terms of this session. Just trying to get those budgets out so that the state has an operating budget starting July 1st and can continue to operate. That is a constitutional mandate in the Louisiana Constitution. Also, there are a couple of tax breaks that went through the Senate yesterday. They're going to go over to the House. We're not sure if they're going to make it. That may be a last-ditch effort. We'll talk about those because they are coronavirus-based in just a second. Getting into the Supreme Court, this would be the United States Supreme Court, they struck down an abortion law that was Louisiana-specific 5-4. The law required that any doctor who was performing an abortion at a clinic would need to have admittance rights to a nearby hospital. Now, the idea there would be if there was complications, the doctor could immediately transport the mother to the hospital. Now, this was very similar to a law, almost word for word, from Texas that the Supreme Court shot down because of the constitutional right to an abortion at the national level. They the Supreme Court argued that this was limiting that constitutional right and ability. The vote came down 5-4 based almost along party lines. John Roberts, who has kind of bucked the system a couple of times in terms of going along party lines, voted with his more liberal friends, and of course the 5-4 decision, it was struck down. So it's going to be interesting to see if that comes back up or if it stays dead. But again, that was voted on last week. President Donald Trump issued an executive order through the Department of Health and Hospitals, which should please a lot of people here in Livingston Parish. As you know, or you may or may not have known, if you follow some of the news we have been reporting, there's a foster care issue here in Livingston Parish. We have Child Advocacy Services, or CAS, that works with a lot of individual foster children. Believe it or not, there are over 400,000 foster children in America, and that number continues to grow, and especially here in Livingston Parish. So this new executive order that Trump signed is supposed to save roughly $43 million a year by removing some burden, what states call, especially their Department of Child and Family Services call, some burdensome and intrusive practices that were implemented by the previous administration, trying to make it easier to foster care children, trying to make it easier to find long-term solutions for foster children and long-term care. Also trying to make it easier by removing limitations on public-private partnerships, trying to help those who choose to foster care get more assistance, not just from the state, but from private entities as well. So trying to remove a lot of regulation in the foster care sector, I guess you can call it. And here in Livingston Parish, especially post-flood, there is a foster care issue. Recommend you go look up Child Advocacy Services. They could always use help. They provide counseling for these kids, counseling for foster parents, and as well as adoptive parents. They also try to help represent these children in court when they cannot afford or find somebody to represent them. So they can always use help. They can always use volunteers. They can always use donations. That's Child Advocacy Service, a great organization. And they actually just swore in a new board. We'll be talking about that later in the week. Continuing to roll out these graduations over the weekend, Denham Springs High School graduated on Saturday, and Walker High School graduated on Sunday. Both groups graduated on their football field. No rain, so they got it done. A lot of masks worn. A lot of folks going through a very long line because there are a lot of kids at both schools. But you can find videos of those graduations on our Facebook page. And, of course, Mr. David Gray was out there. Denham Springs' graduation story and photo gallery are available right now. Walker's will come out today. And, again, last night, Springfield graduated on the Walker High field. So congratulations to all those graduates. Graduations will run through July 2nd, which is Thursday. So we still have 3 more days, tonight, tomorrow, and Thursday, before we wrap up graduation season. But congratulations to those seniors who have graduated and to those who will. Getting into your coronavirus statistics real quick: 57,081 cases, 3,091 deaths, 42,225 recoveries. Excuse me, I had a little trouble reading that. 704,000 tests, 737 hospitalizations on 79 ventilators. And good morning, Mr. Harris. Thank you for joining us. In Livingston Parish, 860 cases, 37 deaths on 11,300 tests. Livingston Parish drawing a little bit of attention because of a high positivity rate. We'll see if that carries over that 2-week period. Right now, we're looking at a high positivity rate from new tests over about a 5-day period, kind of looking at 14 days. So it may slow down, may peter off. We'll see. This is just sort of the beginning of data collection for an upward trend in the parish. The Louisiana Senate has passed 2 tax breaks for businesses, one with regard to sales tax, the other trying to incentivize hiring by providing certain tax breaks on excuse me, payroll taxes and things of that nature, and trying to get people to go out and hire new people. There were some problems with both bills. They've just passed the Senate. They'll head over to the House. Again, we talked about this earlier. They're going to have to be rushed through with no amendments if they're going to hit the governor's desk before 6 p.m. tonight. The sales tax would give businesses who remit sales taxes a 1% break on a monthly basis, upwards of anywhere from $1,200 to $1,500 in cap. So we're going to see if that would help. One of the arguments among the commission, one of the arguments among the commission was that it was only helping small businesses, really didn't help much of anybody else. But they wanted to give it a shot, so they eventually passed it. With regard to the hiring, trying to offer some payroll tax breaks, as well as some tax incentives to hire people. Now, one of the arguments there was people are only going to hire if they need it. They're not going to hire to acquire an incentive, and that tends to be pretty true in business. We'll see if this provides folks with an incentive to hire. Right now, it's hard to tell. Of course, they haven't passed the House. They have to pass the House and then have the governor sign them. So it's going to be interesting to see where those 2 tax breaks go, if they even make it out of the House and to the governor's desk. Again, the legislative session ends at 6 p.m. today. Getting back into, not going to go back over those coronavirus statistics or the mitigation effort. Well, we'll go back over the mitigation effort. I lied. Wash your hands with soap and water for 20 seconds or more. Disinfect common surfaces at home and at the office. Wear a mask in public if at all possible. Don't touch your face, my favorite one. Control a cough and sneezing with an elbow or a tissue. 6 feet or more of distance between yourself and others. 25 or less to a gathering, preferably less. And stay home if you're sick, and utilize telehealth to get in touch with your doctor, as well as staying home to work if at all possible. Want to remind folks that the traffic is flowing this morning. A pretty good day. There are some minor delays at 190 and 447, as well as 190 in Jubin. Haven't quite gotten some delays at 4-H Club Road, River Road, and 190 just yet, but they are coming, I am sure. Some delays on those on-ramps, but I-12 is flowing, so a good day for traffic. It's currently 82 degrees. 93 degrees is your high. 76 degrees your overnight low. Mostly sunny. That it's going to change over to pretty much sun this afternoon with a few clouds. There is a small chance of rain. It is Louisiana, but not too bad. One last time, I want to remind folks that my name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Appreciate you guys joining us this morning for the Livingston Parish News Morning Show. Please remember that we are on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. We are once a week in print on Thursdays at $7 a month. To get that in your mailbox, we are also online. www.livingstonparishnews.com. We have free sections for breaking news, which is legislative and national news, and statewide. We also have a coronavirus page, which is free, and a podcast page, which has audio and video versions of these podcasts, as well as the long-form interviews that we record. Want to remind folks, please remember to go vote. You have until Saturday to early vote. You can go any day this week from 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. to go get that early voting out of the way. The regular election for these spring elections will be July 11th. Once again, McHugh David, hope you have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow morning.